It seems like a lot of people have some great memories and stories about the old Volkswagen Beetle, which is why it still has a ton of interest today. For me, it was driving around in my dad's old Beetle with brown leather seats, listening to the chirp of the engine. It's just something I'll never forget. So when ROCHobby came out with the people's car, I had to get one in for the channel to relive some of those old memories, just in a smaller scale. Here we go, let's take a look at the people's car. Doesn't this thing look amazing? Tons of scale details to go over on this. It's much like the Commander wagon, which we've already reviewed here on the channel. I'll put a link to that up above if you want to get some additional info about it. But look at this. I love the light gray paint job. It is paint because if I flip it over, you can see that the underside plastic is a different color. The front bumper is chrome. It actually comes separate. You have to install it yourself. You're going to need a small Phillips screwdriver for that. You just have to remove the lower skid plate, slip it in along with the horn, and bolt that skid back in place. But the chrome is awesome. Nice shine to it. There's also chrome headlight bezels, chrome hood latch, door handles. Even the hubcaps have a perfect chrome coating on them, and the rear bumper is chromed as well. You'll also notice that it has taillight lenses and headlight lenses. There are LEDs already fitted behind them. Those are controlled with a button on the transmitter. You could turn them on, off. You even have high and low beams in the headlights, which is very cool. Now the body itself, beautifully molded. Love the lines on here. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. The anti-aircraft light has been removed on this body set, and they just have a small plug there. That's the only little gripe about it. I mean, it's a reused body set, but it would have been nice if that was gone on this particular body. Like you may have guessed, everything opens on this, such as the hood. Check that out. You just got to grab the handle, pull up on it a little bit. It snaps in place when you go in, swap out the battery. The battery actually goes up front in this little area. There's the plug for it. And then next to the battery is the 2-in-1 ESC receiver combo that we've seen before on ROCHobby models. And they have a spare tire in here as well. Just got to add those details. They are just on point with it. Now the doors open, and it's just so cool to see these. Here's the hinges for it peeking out. Those are metal hinges, and then you pull out on the door handle. It actually has a working latch in it. Look at that. The interior of the door has some texture to it, and might as well look at the interior while we're here. Got a full dashboard, even with decals on the cluster. The steering wheel turns along with the front wheels when you're steering. It's got pedals down on the floorboards. They're not rotted out. I remember my dad's VW. We could see through the floor on that one, but shifter lever, and then the seats are absolutely awesome in this. These are rubberized seats, rubber seats in the rear. Now on the rear of this, love the split window, love the roof lining, and then the rear hatch opens up, revealing the air-cooled motor, and the fan belt actually spins on this. You can actually see the fan turning inside for the air cooling. They've got the distributor, bunch of other scale details in here, and then there's the control board for the LED lights. And this is really just an awesome model that would look good on the shelf when you're not driving it. Now I'll flip it over just so we can talk about some of the other functionality. It does have portal hubs in the rear, just swing arm suspension in the front, trailing arm in the rear, metal dog bones out to the wheels. And then the transmission on this is pretty unique. There's a 2-speed transmission, and you could shift it from all-wheel drive to just rear-wheel drive. I think that's just really cool on something so small. It's amazing how they were able to get all that into this small transmission setup. It's got a 130 size motor to drive the driveline, and there under these two plates are the shift servos for the transmission, the 2-speed, and the all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive selector. Even the bottom of the transmission looks realistic. There's the front suspension, just springs for the suspension, no oil, no shocks or anything like that. The steering servo is also located up under this plate. And then finally the tires. It's more of a street tread on this, where on the Commander wagon we had more of an off-road style of tire. Now this is a ready to run. They give you a 2.4 gigahertz radio that will control all the functionality from the lights to the transmission. They give you a USB charger, a LiPo battery pack, and there's actually some additional decals if you want to swap out the license plate. All right, let's take this out for a drive. So how does the people's car perform? Well, I'm just gonna get right into it. In low gear, it's painfully slow. And in high gear, it's got a decent crawl. It turns kind of wide. And if you go up a dirt hill with it, it will want to diff out and just spin the wheels. If you gain a little bit of traction, the transmission bogs down. Then you switch that low gear again where you're just driving way too slow. But here's the thing. This is an amazingly scale detail VW bug. And if you're really into Volkswagens, this is going to look awesome on your shelf. And if you ever did want to take it out and drive it, it does provide some fun. I could certainly see a lot of people detailing these and taking them out on video adventures, or just driving it as is and taking some great video with it. But it's a really cool detail model that would just look amazing in anyone's collection. There's links in the video description if you want to add it to yours.